And we're live. Welcome. Oh god, it's so bright in here.
And alright, well, I just tried to test launch Darktide. It doesn't seem like it's actually playable. I could just open the menu.
It might be a preload kind of situation, maybe.
Yeah, it was a preload. They opened preload today. And I think they had a timer that's like 11 hours. I don't know what's 11 hours from now.
Take whatever hour it is, subtract 1. That's what will be in the morning.
Oh, midnight. Okay.
What? 11 hours from now is 3 a.m.
Oh boy, 3 a.m. That's I think that's up for debate.
No, it's not. Not with the information you gave me.
I think, yeah, arriving at Atoma Prime, 11 hours, 50 minutes.
So 12 hours from now.
Oh, they're on the weird made-up times. Okay. Guess I'm playing it
So
tomorrow,
it'll be at
then.
4 a.m.
God.
Ah, hell, you should have been born British.
I guess. Would certainly mean I could go out and buy Warhammer stuff more easily. And
That is true.
Games
You're
Workshop
literally right there.
Yeah.
Oh boy, today starts the dawn of a new era.
A new dark era.
A new dark age. We've regressed. We've gone back to Vine.
Honest. And there we go. I have in fact followed and liked your first TikTok.
Woo! You should. It's about you.
It is about me. Even more reason.
It is. It is your travesty.
Oh, I guess we have different ways of describing it. That was a fucking phenomenal session, though. That was so much fun.
I definitely need to get used to recording TikTok stuff. In general.
it's a new beast.
Also, I need to get like those camera holders you can have that like reduce shaking.
Oh yeah, fair.
I have shaky hands.
Yeah, that would be like good. Honestly, those are handy things.
Yeah. Honestly, I've learned from this experience as well. I really just need to start filming with my phone more often. Maybe not for my face cam stuff all the time because it's a really good camera. And so every small imperfection on your face gets just enhanced.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, like, you pick getting. Are you talking about just in general for like day-to-day stuff, not even for YouTube, or just like, just recording more stuff?
What kind of person do you think I am that I record myself day to day with not content creation in mind?
I don't know. Maybe you're trying to build up the muscle. Maybe you're like, I can build up the memory. I don't know what's going on in your head.
That's actually not a bad idea. Just vlog so much it becomes second nature.
I mean, that's what some people do.
It's true. That's a thought to have. Not a thought I like, but it's a thought to have.
I mean, it's a thought. Like, I've thought of it, then every time I think about it, I'm like, ew, vlogging.
Yeah.
I don't like vlogs.
I don't know. It's also like recording using it is interesting, but I don't know. It's in the beginning phase. It's in the baby alpha phase. We gotta figure out how to make the content better and just stream. Also, you know what's funny? Zoran the Bear gave really good advice on Twitter about how to tweet all the time, which is just literally say whatever curse thing comes to your mind. Because honestly, the more cursed it is, the more engagement you get.
True. You gotta farm the delete this gifs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you gotta farm.
It's one of those things, right? Like, it's the beginning of trying to really push the content, because I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who just wants to overly sell themselves all the time. I feel like that's so annoying.
Yeah,
and I think
part of the beast.
There are ways. Yo, Dead Phoenix, what's up?
Yo.
I think there are ways to do it that aren't as annoying. And I think there's different kind of like I guess I don't know. Different kind of mentalities, I guess, behind it. Like how you take it matters just as much as how you present it.
Makes sense.
Because I think it's so cringe when people are like all talking about their brand all the time.
Yeah, where there's like
Super
nothing
cringy.
else that like they can talk about. Like it's their personality now.
Yeah. Or they just seem super artificial and like
Yeah.
sell out. I don't know. But it's something that's definitely interesting, and it's definitely something that well, I mean, that's a great comment. Oh my god.
Is the comment on your short?
Yeah,
I saw that was a really good one.
that's a great comment. My squeezing arms really dealt some really good ones lately.
True.
So the quickest way to a man's heart. Oh god. Yeah, the biggest thing is literally just trying and putting content out and seeing what works. And another thing as well, right? Like, there's also a secret to the madness. The more you put out, the more you'll generate views.
Mm-hmm.
And if some of your stuff is at least quality, the other reviews are just icing on the cake.
That is true. It's the thing I think about where I'm like, yeah, if I just made one more video, and I've been like mapping it out, if possible, increasing my upload rate by like one more. It's something I'll eventually do. It's something that I don't want to do at the moment, but I think like in a month's time I'll probably have to do that, and probably will do that.
You gotta pace yourself.
That's the thing.
That's the lesson that I learned really early on, is pacing yourself to not overdo it, and then to do it on a schedule enough to constantly be getting used to it. Because this week I filmed 5 things. Granted, I gotta refilm 2 of those things because of formatting issues, but you know, whatever. They were shorts, so it doesn't matter. But so I filmed everything in like one day, and it's been really nice now just being like, okay, I'm just gonna now go and edit for a few hours today, and then I'm done for the day already.
Yeah.
It's very solid. And all it took was like 3 hours straight of recording.
Totally. And yeah, I've gotten to it where I have a really nice cycle of editing work for when I do it, because the new video that dropped, which I'll see how good it does, because it normally takes like tomorrow is like once it gets to Friday is when like the views start like increasing. The first day is always slow for me. I don't know why. Like, it certainly feels like my analytics are like a snowball. Day one's kind of, and then it starts like speeding up really fast. It's been the trend for like all of my shit.
You have been doing pretty well. I mean, your channel is what now? Like, yeah, just got around the 1 month mark now.
Yeah.
And you're at 138, and you started at like nothing. 14,
Yeah, like
maybe
17.
17. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's been fun, and honestly, the video I put out is, I mean, I like that every time I say this, it's true. Like the latest video I put out's my favorite. I think it's because I didn't like work out and kill all my energy before that. Because I drove home and then like got my shit ready, and then recorded. So like I had a lot of energy in like that day. So I do think like it's the most like narratively, like narration wise, one of the more entertaining videos.
Well, and I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's iterative. You gotta, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Yeah, and it was really fun like recording it and talking about this character, because Fabius Bile is genuinely one of my favorite characters in Warhammer, and I do believe he'd be one of yours.
Yeah, I watched the video today. I did. Definitely interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I could see the comparisons you were making. I think he's fun. I think reading his material would be very interesting.
Yeah, I 100% recommend reading Primogenitor. Like, if you have some access to like a free book or an audiobook, like Primogenitor is a really fun book. Like, with the disclaimer I made, like I think it's very true. The first chapter of Primogenitor is really fucking boring because it's the same thing 5 times. Because he meets the squad and then they're all like, Oleander, you've returned. I could kill you now. Wouldn't that be weird? And he's like, I must see the master. And they're like, don't call him master. And then it's that for about like 30 minutes. The only cool information is that mutants worship Fabius Bile as a god.
Yeah.
They call him like Pater Mutatus or something. And build weird, gross statues in his name, and he thinks it's kind of funny.
He would.
Yeah. He doesn't approve of being worshipped as a god, but he thinks it's useful.
That's fair. It probably would be useful.
Which is more of the reason why I think he's Brandmaster with Nikos' personality. Because Nikos, like, a lot of the things he says, I'm like, I feel like Nikos would say this.
Yeah. I
like,
mean,
let's quotes.
Not forget that Nikos literally made a magnificent mansion where all of the servants were representations of people he hated.
Yeah, like
in school.
The way he deals with his mutants, like the people around him, is I do believe Nikos do the same thing. I feel like Nikos, if he was being worshipped, would be like, it's useful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he is also like he's the rare thing in Warhammer where he's well written, smart, and like well written to be smart. Where it's not like the book is telling you he's so smart and you have to just make that assumption. Like his ideas and like plans are genuinely really well thought out.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're not well thought out, but he has like so many contingency plans that there's no way he can fail.
Mm-hmm.
Because he literally had a plan, like, we're going to jump into the warp with no Geller field, and he had like 3 backup plans in case something fucked up.
Yeah, it's always good to have redundancies.
Yeah, he just has so many like other shit going on at the same time. He's great.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, you've done really well. You got 2 videos that got over 1,000 in a month, which is really good.
Yeah,
that's something that
good
like
videos.
I even struggle with from time to time. Oh, okay. I was like, what the heck? Didn't I get the change? If you look at your own YouTube channel, it doesn't separate lives and videos.
I see.
But yeah, so definitely it's been very interesting, and I find it funny that we both have been going through these journeys with various tabletop games of here's our content, we want to change it up and make it more interesting for people, and the parallels and the differences. It's always super fascinating. And oh yeah, you know what else is super funny today? Nonat has just started his archetype series.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He just started the acrobat video.
Is he also doing it in alphabetical order?
Yep.
Huh.
He did have a poll, and it was what his viewers asked for. To be fair, I think this will be some of his best content in a while, which I know he's gonna absolutely hate. And at first I was like, how is this gonna affect me? Because I also do the same thing. And then I realized, but there's no way he's gonna catch up to me.
No.
And whenever anyone is gonna look for archetype videos, if his videos generate more interest in archetype videos, then my videos will inherently just get more views, because people who are looking for archetypes he hasn't done yet are just gonna end up at my channel.
Yeah, no, you're safe. Because I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, he's biting your shit. And I'm like, wait, it's probably not going to be as regular.
Yeah. There's also that. There's also that kind of a thought as well. So, very funny, very interesting. Content creation is such an interesting beast. I think people don't recognize, I guess, the complexities that come with being a content creator, and like the things you got to do, and like the ways you got to look at some content, because you just do really weird things as a content creator sometimes. Like the titles. Some of the titles we have on our table talks are a little questionable, but you know, some of the most questionable ones have also got the most views.
It's a necessary evil sometimes.
It is.
Yeah. And then yeah, because it's like now I'm actually like forced to sit down and read the books I've been putting off. So that's the one benefit of all this. Is like where I've been putting off reading Primogenitor for a while, and then once I started reading it, I'm like, damn, this book's good. I'm enjoying myself for this research.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I felt about a lot of the archetypes. The Dandy video recently, despite that video not doing well, Dandy's a really good archetype, actually. And it's one that I wrote off initially as like, oh, this is a fun kind of gimmicky one. You get some kind of cool, like, abilities to interact in social situations or whatever. But when you put it in the framework of, hey, but now you can make a very optimized combat character, and then all you have to do is slap Dandy onto it, and you're suddenly a much more diverse and deeper character because of it.
I mean, I meant the comment I put on there. Like, I am gonna start looking at Dandy more for some of my characters, because I do think that's a useful one.
Yeah, and the best part about it is you just have to take the dedication feat, and then all the rest of it's like skill feats that you can pick up. So you don't even have to worry about it that much affecting your actual build, even if you're playing vanilla.
It does just seem like a useful thing to take. It doesn't remove much from you. It's just a nice, easy, like, freebie. Like, it just helps.
Yeah, and it takes the fighter character who's just like really designed towards being really good at fighting, and then bam, suddenly they're a social magnate. They're able to get into any kind of event just by some weird social finagling. They get access to a universal lore skill. It's really good.
What does that actually do? Universal lore.
So when you make a lore skill check for any kind of recall knowledge, it's better than if you make just a standard knowledge check. So for instance, if you have lore beasts versus nature, your lore beasts will give you it'll reduce the DC for the recall knowledge by 5.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which is really big. And then when you have a lore that's not specific, so Dandy gives gossip lore. What it does is when you make a recall knowledge, you can make it on anything, and it reduces the DC by 2.
Handy.
It's really good. The limitations are the most you can ever get with it is expert. So if you're a master in Arcana, you're neutraled out with gossip lore. And then if you're a legendary in Arcana, you're better than making a gossip lore.
Makes sense, but does help the other things you're not expert.
Oh, it's very good.
That sounds great.
It's very good. Bardic lore is similar. Lore Master lore is similar. They're all really solid. And in Pathfinder, finding out what creatures can do It's pretty helpful, honestly.
Disagree, but you know.
Yeah, you're full of shit. You said it's handy when it's on your team, so shut up.
Yeah, but no, I also no.
Mm-hmm.
I can hold both opinions.
And the Demolitionist, which you just finished,
And just
just sent to me. I saw. I again wrote it off because it's like, oh, you're a bomb setter. That's cool, I guess, but sounds kind of niche. But when I looked at it and looked at like the actual application with Alchemist in mind, it suddenly made Alchemist much more interesting because it took just being a standard bomber and it turned you into a full on like you gain a lot of utility from it, and there's even interesting things you can do in combat with it as well.
that was the thing that was really interesting. It did this like when I saw Demolitionist, I'm like, oh hell yeah, bomber. But it really is more utility than like I thought it would be. Yeah.
And the best
That's
part
pretty shit.
is if you use free archetype, which is becoming more and more like the norm for most groups,
Good.
it's good because horizontal leveling is the best.
And yeah, free archetypes are phenomenal and they should always be used.
It's true. I agree. 100%. When you take Demolitionist, you can pick up Alchemist feats without having to actually invest your Alchemist feats. Really diversifying the way you can play your character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can happen.
See, I feel I would have done it a little differently. I guess just I'm a bit like better than the average Pathfinder player, but like I wouldn't have helped the monster.
Yeah,
and
we
it
saw that
would
with the
not have
Deadly
made it.
Mantis fight, huh?
Well, yeah. What part of that fight would have helped if I recalled knowledge, Cam? If I know something about mantises, they eat your head as it's eating my head. Like that's pointless.
You could have found out how fast it was, so people could have.
I was being
better.
held by it.
Yeah, and you know what you did? Jack shit. So you could have at least used your brain.
So it didn't roll good.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of skill, it's because of the dice said no. But still, the recall knowledge would not have helped at all.
It would have totally helped.
No, it wouldn't have. I would have known I was being held by a mantis. Oh wow, guys, it has this pretty good modifier to hit me. Ah! I'm being hit by it.
I had to say that was a pretty fun encounter in general.
No,
You
it
guys
was.
completely destroyed the mantis. Despite it was a level 11 creature. But y'all just murdered the crap out of it. Mostly
Ew,
Everett
cool.
because fighter.
Yeah, true.
And just rolling really really
Yep.
well. I don't know, Alicia's got some weighted dice or something because it just seems like Everett comes in and wrecks shit every turn.
Alicia stole Devin's RNG.
Yeah, oh, that's where it went. But yeah, that creature is a legitimately, like, I love Pathfinder's creatures because that creature fights in such a unique way compared to everything else.
Just an ambush, then run away. As it just tries to kill one person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was
worked.
really
It
good
was
at
cool.
it.
Yeah, it was.
It nearly ate your head.
And it did. There's a timeline where Adrian fucking died.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this
Fortunately, you
cool
guys
new
have
stuff.
fidget and the fact that the sprite can summon unicorns.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God for unicorns.
Best summon, honestly.
They're really good for their level, honestly. And the unicorn got the final killing blow on a creature 7 levels above it.
That unicorn just got jacked up in levels.
Just got a big XP boost.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so, like, I think that's, I can understand why people get so hooked on certain things. I never could. My ADD prevents me from really, like, getting super sucked into certain kinds of things.
Mhm.
Like, I play an MMO, and I look at people, I'm like, I wish I could be like them. I wish I could play this game for 12 hours a day and really like something that much to want to invest that much time rather than getting bored after, like, a month of playing.
Yeah. Feel the same. There's like very few things I can do that for. One of which would be Warframe when I can play it.
Yeah.
God
I do want to
damn.
get back into Warframe. Another game I wish I really could get into, but man, it's so hard.
I just need one good grinding game, and that's Warframe.
Soon, hopefully. But and the only thing that I really absolutely obsess over is tabletop. It's the only thing I talk about all the time. I'm always super interested in because it's just I don't know. I'm really hooked on the idea of like the fun and narrativeness and creating stories. And again, it's one of those things I'm kind of good at. So I think everyone kind of, if everyone gets something they find they're really good at and kind of get hooked on that one thing because they're like, but it's mine.
Yeah.
I was chosen.
It's I feel that way about Warhammer because like honestly, especially now with what I'm doing, I do feel like I'm like I feel like I can safely call myself kind of like an authority on what I'm talking about. Like if I'm explaining a thing to somebody, I feel like I'm right, like with the information. And when I like fact check myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I was correct. I knew this. It's just like the years I've been like fully invested in this universe. Like I've absorbed all of this information, and like I know most of it from memory. There's a few gaps that I'm like currently filling, so I'm gonna have to actually learn Eldar lore now. Ugh. Tau lore. Ugh. But you know. But it's I feel the same way about Warhammer. It's the one thing where I've really been like it's a hobby I haven't dropped. I've taken some breaks, but now I'm like back into it. Though I've realized like my enjoyment of Warhammer like hobby side is purely dependent on my mood. And I've been in a very good mood in the past month, so I've been actually building again.
Yeah. I always love tabletop. Honestly, like when we have some good sessions, it's just the best thing. I'll wake up, not feel great, have a good session. I'm like, man, I feel great now. It's awesome.
No. Rogel Dorn, no.
No. I love TTS. But yeah, and then YouTube, I guess, is kind of like another thing that I've kind of pseudo obsessed over. Because I talk about it all the time because, you know, it's kind of like my livelihood.
Yeah.
And also trying to figure out, like, how it works and trying to make it so that the content I make gets expressed and people really enjoy it because people do enjoy the content. But there's just so much more I want to do. And it's really hard to keep consistent with work while also branching out with new content.
True.
It takes more brain power. And people are really orientated around finding rhythms. It's just, I don't know. There's so much more I want to do. If the TikTok stuff comes up, yo, Dagon, what's up? If the TikTok stuff comes up, or the YouTube Shorts end of it comes up good, then all the better. Because then I can just randomly spout about whatever random stuff happens in some of the games. Because some of our sessions, and some of the past sessions we've done too, I got a good backlog. It's just peak tabletop, and it's great. And I want to be able to express that to people without it sounding like you're bragging about a game. Because
Yeah.
I swear, every time someone starts going off about something their character did or whatever, my brain just shuts off. I just don't care.
It's hard to care, honestly. But everyone does it, you know?
Everyone does
Everyone
because
gets
they're
excited.
excited about it. So just being able to present that in a way that is exciting is something that I want to try to better revolutionize, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it works out. Yeah, I've been thinking about the ways I would do my Warhammer TikToks if I could. There's There's a guy who is kind of like the guy for Warhammer TikTok, like lore stuff. He's found a way to make the lore really bite-sized, and he's really good at it. So I don't want to like just copy his shit because he's just better at it than I am. Even though some parts of his lore have been inaccurate or like lore nerd.
I'm telling you now, Alex, everyone fucks up. Everyone does.
True, I don't.
You're a liar.
I don't mess up. Everything I say is true. Literally find one inaccuracy in my videos. You can't.
I am not the man for that task, but there are some sweaty neckbeards out there who are.
I pride myself that I have yet to be actually.
You only got 1,000 views on some of your videos.
I got a good amount of comments though. Doesn't stop it, So my videos are perfect lore wise.
Yeah, Wild Sea's been bouncing around our Discord quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in looking into Wild Sea.
I mean, also, yeah,
so
Day God's been in our Discord preaching its good graces. I am curious now. I am very curious in how that turns out. I'm certainly because one little thing I'm going to be doing, because I know we talked about this, and I'm for sure we're going to make this once we get around like the Pathfinder Bloodborne game we do. I am going to make a Google form. I'm going to set up a channel in the Discord and figure out a good way to have people recommend us systems in a way that's like valid recommendations and not like repeated stuff or low effort things. And stuff that helps us on the way. And Wild Sea I'm already putting on the list. Like I'm gonna automate that and catalog that for you so that you don't have to deal with it. I'll just do that as my mod duties.
Okay. That'd be nice. Yeah, definitely. God, we got so many games to look into.
Ooh. There's a lot of really good ones.
And it's always nice to see because a lot of people do come in to vote on what games we check out. And a lot of people, I think, are interested in actually checking out the games. It's something that I wish got more traction on the channel. But the channel doesn't have a good way of drawing in variety tabletop gaming like it does Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And not that I dislike Pathfinder. Trust me, I love Pathfinder. I'll get into that all day. But it's really easy to build niche content because people who are looking up that content will find it. But when you're looking at variety content, people have a hard time because what games you're putting on your variety stuff people might not even know about to look up to find your channel.
It's fun beast.
The next thing we're doing after the Halloween special this month is we are going to set up a poll and we're going to have people vote on which system we're going to check out. So
yeah, it's going to be I'll have like I mentioned, I'll have a form active where that'll get where essentially it's just to stop from like just people spamming like all these like hundreds of games. It's going to be you have to pitch it a little bit, tell us what's interesting about the system, provide any resources to like easily find where you can either purchase or just find the information. If there's any like extra stuff that'd be good to like give out, stuff like that. That way we get a lot of very valid recommendations, and then I'll catalog them and present ones I think are really interesting to camp, or ones that I think keep finding interesting. Because at the very least, we both know each other enough that I can safely tell what your tastes will align with, and I feel like vice versa.
That's fair.
We both do that a lot, where we're like, "Hey, you'd love this thing," and you're like, "Oh yeah, you're totally right."
Yeah, well, I think especially for content creators, it's really easy to psychoanalyze because you look at their content and you're like, I know who you've been watching on YouTube.
Yeah. I think it's pretty safe to say my YouTube gives away that I'm a giant Bricky fan, but
Yeah. To be fair, Bricky's got great content. I love Bricky's content.
The man is great. And even though he's wrong about Caiaphas Cain, he's still great.
Yeah, because definitely one of the hardest parts for me when I was setting up the list was just finding tabletop games to talk about, especially because most websites that talk about tabletop games seem very like not interested in tabletop. Really, they just look at like metrics online. They're like, oh, what Google trends are people talking about, yada yada yada.
Yeah, it's Google Trends
And
too.
rather than like actually getting a tap on the vein of the tabletop scene and figuring out like what people like or dislike. And the great
Yeah.
thing about our Discord is we get a lot of people who are being very active, who are recommending really great games, and from all perspectives, GM perspectives, player perspectives, all that other kind of stuff. So, you know, like a lot of the stuff we're going to be offering is definitely stuff that people are interested in, that are actively in the field, who are like nerds who just want to see content, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, the streams where we talk about this stuff, we get like a stupid amount of recommendations. So we might as well have a way to catalog it.
So it's definitely going to be one of those things of... It's also going to be one of those things where I think the format will evolve with time, but it requires the channel to grow in ways that it just hasn't yet.
Yeah.
Because I would love to dedicate more than one session to looking into any one game. But time-wise, that's a huge burden.
Yeah.
And view-wise, it doesn't pay off.
No. As much as I would love for us to like have the time to do a like full VTM, or just 10 5-session campaign. God fucking, I want to play that character. I want to play my Malkavian. I want to play him so bad. He's really fun.
I enjoy Vampire the Masquerade a lot too.
It's such a fun system.
A fun one to GM for.
Yeah, like, and it's the thing where that character is the one-shot character I've made where I truly like really clicked. Where I'm like, this is a character I'd straight up just play. And you know, I would hopefully at some point we could do that.
Hopefully,
it is that system's so cool, and I think our taste for our group is very in line with Vampire.
That's also true. We just are very orientated towards, I think, that kind of game style. But
I mean, the character is like literally has 0 combat skills, so I think the character I played, he is pure social.
It's super tragic, but my best Final Thoughts video does not beat my worst archetype video. You know, it's
yeah.
There's just no competition, even for videos that are not like super in the style. Like even some of my old videos that didn't do well, like
Town of Salem.
Why do you gotta bring that up?
The fans want to hear about
Town
of Salem. Technically, I guess, but it's different. If it's so different though. Anima and
we do need
so
to actually do like an Anima one shot one of these days for the channel as well.
Someone recommends it, I'll toss it on there.
Because while we do have a live play of Anima Beyond Fantasy on the channel, I've never really talked about the actual game itself. I have one like introductory video into it, and that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a script about Anima. Like at some point I will make it. It's just I have some like ideas I want to do for it. That's the style I want to make it in. I need to be more comfortable, and it's gonna be way more intensive script wise. So I have to do it carefully. And besides, I'm getting in this nice rhythm with Warhammer stuff. So
yeah,
when I feel myself I think my strat is when I feel myself getting tired of like, I just don't want to read about Warhammer this week, I'll probably work on like something like that, where I make something different. Just to keep the algorithm going, because that's the main goal right now.
But if we get a bigger scene of people who want to watch us live, for instance, or watch our live plays, then we might start looking into kinds of content that, you know, where we do like 5-10 sessions of a game rather than one. And when I can start getting like some help with editing and all that kind of stuff like that, that's also something where then I can dedicate more time, because GMing a game takes a lot of effort. Takes a lot of brain power. And running a session is just extra load. Like, in the weeks that we do our one-shots, there's a likely chance I'll miss one of my other videos in the week, which is not necessarily good because, like I said, they just don't do as well as other content. I take the blow willingly, knowing because I really like the kind of content and I want to promote it more. But it does hurt the channel.
Yeah, sadly. I still fully believe it's going to be retroactively popular.
I do too.
Like, at some point, it's just going to fucking explode.
I actually need to turn that into a playlist now that I have a good number of Final Thoughts videos.
Yeah, I just made a playlist for both of my series.
Yeah. I still need to get a banner for the channel as well. I keep forgetting about doing that. But we've been doing pretty good. We're at 1.34K. And we just hit the... this week, actually, yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of when I started doing when I started doing content creation, like, as my primary focus. That was yesterday.
Oh, damn.
And September 12th was the 1-year anniversary of the channel, and at that point we had like 1.2K, I think, subs, which 1.2 in a year is not bad, honestly.
Yeah, better than a lot of others.
You've been asked a question. Oh, for you and Glue.
Yeah, it was for
both of us, yeah.
Yeah. I will say that's the funny part. I don't like live play content. I don't watch it. It's not something I enjoy. I like making it because it's fun to play tabletop, and doing it live, I don't really feel much of like a difference in my head when I'm playing like a at home and a live game. The only difference is if it's live, I'll be a little more like pushed towards like not wasting time. Though I will say, I think the part that's going to get popular for the series, I think, is going to be the final thought bits. I think that will be very popular. I don't know about the live play stuff. I feel like at some point when this channel has like a lot of traction already, people will enjoy it for the personalities on here, because that's why they subscribe in the first place for some people. I can't really offer much insight on like making a live play entertaining, because I just attend and do my best to be entertaining. Though that's my philosophy for any live stuff on this channel I take part in.
I like live plays, but I think a lot of it is I'd rather be doing it than watching it kind of situation. And what makes live plays interesting are the personalities, for sure. Like, the only live plays I have ever really watched is Critical Role and Dimension 20.
That is fair. I have watched Dimension 20 stuff. I like how condensed it is the difference. I don't like how long like Critical Role is, so I can never really get into it. Dimension 20 is very short, so I've enjoyed it more. Though it's just because I don't have the attention span to watch an entire campaign.
I think not many people do, honestly. I also think Brennan Lee Mulligan's just such a fantastic person to watch him work. He's a really entertaining.
He's a really entertaining personality in general. I do really like his stuff.
Because there's a lot of stuff I watch with him in it where I am watching everyone else and I'm kind of like, meh, you know. But then when he's on it, I'm just like, yes, go. I want to see the nonsense you come up with.
I also super respect his ability to just monologue, like for like literally like unlimited amount of time unless he's stopped or stops himself. I like his stuff on like their other like stuff like the game shows they do. He is or my other favorite was like really is like Chaos Adlib.
Yeah.
I love his him yelling at Matt to like take credit for his work.
Yeah.
That whole bit of like just making fun of like, oh, my character does, my world doesn't feel done with like 3 books out.
Yeah.
He is great with the stop being so humble, you deserve to brag a little bit.
He's just got such a magnetic personality. It's so easy to watch his content.
Oh yeah, he's suited for the shit he does.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing as well. I definitely think that it's possible to curate a group together and set it up so that we can produce interesting live play stuff. There's 2 inherent problems with this though. One, you're telling people how to play the game, which is not how the kind of the spirit of tabletop. 2, you turn tabletop into work. And some people, they can come in and turn it on and have fun and not be like drained by that. But with like normal people, that's so not the case. I struggle to sit here and talk for 2 hours on stream. So doing that for 4 hours and being like constantly like aware and on and reactive is hard.
And yeah, the only reason I don't struggle for this is because I don't have the I guess the authority that it's my channel. If I was doing my own live stuff, then oh god, that's different. I also have zero intention of doing live content on my own channel anytime soon because the idea of that is terrifying to me. I don't like it unless it's something I can fully control and edit. This is an exception because I'm having a conversation with a friend at the end of the day.
Yeah. This is kind of the best form, I think, of live content we do. Because honestly, live play, not really the best because it's really hard to interact with people in the chat when I'm running a game.
Yeah, true. You can't really, like, stop and talk to chat for it.
Mm-hmm.
It ruins the flow.
It does. And it kind of removes that level of immersion. So
yeah,
it's something that I live stream one game on principle because as someone who talks about being a GM and someone who's really into the hobby, I feel like it's almost owed for people to see me actually participating in the hobby. So that they can get the general impression, the feeling, and they can make their own decisions on, you know, if they like my style or if I am knowledgeable what I'm talking about or whatever. But when it comes to setting up content, one day I would like to have a much more curated kind of style of live play where we're doing it in a way that makes it look fun and interesting, that is fun and interesting for us. But until I can pay people to participate in that, I feel like it's kind of selfish of me to tell people to act the part, you know, for something that's gonna get like 100 views. That feels very, very shallow, ineffective, and needless.
That is fair. Yeah, no, it's something I look forward to the future of it. But at the moment, it's working with what we have and essentially just being like streaming what could essentially be a home game, but it's alive and has a stronger time limit. Because that's like the only other difference between like at least my attitude towards it is I know for a fact we're ending at a specific time rather than like, oh yeah, we kind of end here-ish. Some go longer, some go shorter, like that kind of stuff. That's like the only real difference I feel.
So, you know, like the live content, like I said, if people are interested in watching more of the live content, which happens, I'll be more than happy to start doing more like longer previews of game systems and getting into that kind of stuff. I think all of us should be excited to do that.
Oh, 100%.
The problem just inherently becomes making that time worthwhile. Now, if there's another, I guess there's another outcome as well, is if the Last Thoughts videos become very, very popular and there's a lot of high demand, but then we start getting conflict of people who are deciding they don't want to see the content because it's not representative of the games, then that can also be another motivator to try out games for a lot longer. But that would have to be like, those videos would have to do really, 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 really well, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I need to make like $1,000 on one of those videos to start being like, okay, guys, let's let's take a deeper look here so that we can make a more informed decision.
Yeah, it's a thing of there's definitely a future where we'll take it lots more seriously and really dig deep into it, and I'm excited for that future. It's just, you know, it's not profitable to do so.
Yo, Crassy.
The time. Oh, hey man.
Sorry, go ahead.
The time we'd spend preparing for a thing doesn't do well is stuff that could be better spent preparing for a thing that'll perform and build like more growth.
Mm-hmm.
Just the sad truth of just all this stuff. A lot of YouTube things are an opportunity cost at the end of the day.
Yep.
It's not worth it to invest your time into stuff that's not going to perform well. That's a waste of your time and money.
Yep. So, you know, it's and Crossy, we've mostly just been talking about the content creation, what we'd like to do for the channel. Now we're talking about live play stuff and like how I think we would like to make it something more valuable for the channel, for you guys and for us.
A lot of the stuff we normally talk about.
Yeah. It's just one of those things of we do love checking out new games. We take the opportunity costs that come with it for setting up Session Zero, doing a one-shot video, having an interview on a game when we want to get a look at like a small snippet of it, because we enjoy looking at new games. I think it adds something to the channel, and I do think legitimately people do want to see people's impressions of a game actually trying it out. And that's why I also love the player interview part, because honestly, there's not a lot of channels that offer player interviews on their impressions of a game.
It's fun to figure out like where do your players land for something, because you know, but if because it feels like someone will attach themselves to like one thing. I feel like a player says, where they can look at a thing and be like, oh, you know what? When watching that, I feel roughly that same way. Like, it's the verbalizing a thought that you might not know you've had.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a useful thing to have, and it's something I'm glad that we do on our thing, because I feel like the player interviews, if anything, would be what gets somebody into the system.
Yeah, and I legitimately think the only reason why the videos don't do that well is because Variety Tabletop is not a concentrated field. It's kind of like going into a field of butterflies with a bug net. Like, every time you go out, you're only going to get so many, and there's no real efficient way to collect them all into one spot until at least you create that identity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a niche of a niche. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, if I can get people coming to the channel who are interested in looking in into other games, and we start getting a following of people who are doing that, that's when the game changes, because then other people will recommend us because they're like, oh yeah, I remember Battle Gamer mentioned that game, or they looked into this, or whatever, you know, or you know what, there's this channel that actually did it, and actually you got to hear what the players thought of it, which I think is also super unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I greatly look forward to that world where we can fully invest our time into it and play all these really cool systems. Because that's why I like this series like a lot, is I think it's really fun to try out new systems, and like, so that way there's this like backlog of stuff where we could be like, when the time comes where we have a lot more free time, because we have like, you know, a lot of stuff like automated, or even like a team that does stuff for us, where we can be like, hey, like, why don't we do like a Lancer campaign, streamed or not? Like, we have the time to even have that thought.
Mm-hmm.
and we've played it, so we know which ones we'd all like, which ones we'd attach to. Like, I would 100%, like, I'd love the time to do a fucking Vampire the Masquerade game. That would be so much fun. I really like the setting, and I like the fun of doing a tabletop game where you're set in like modern day. Because that one we did with like Halloween, like last year, was that was really fun. We were like planning stuff, and we literally opened the Google Maps for the town or the city we were in, and we used that as like part of our like planning.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Plus, not only that, but I'm a really good GM for political and social style games. I have a really good mindset for setting up the hierarchies and interactions and stuff like that.
If we both ran VTM, we'd run it very differently. Yeah. I would play a lot more of a like the warring side of the vampire world, like, because I think the really cool set pieces you can make is like one of the parts I love the most. Like, I would put a lot of really cool set pieces and like and adventures and like challenges, and because I struggle with like political stuff, because at the end of the day I don't care like to like write it. It's not something I care to write. I like reading about it. I like playing in a game that has that, but it's not like my care when it comes to writing.
And Crassy, you are correct. That would be a valid way to increase the justification of the time cost.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when it comes to YouTube, there are certain viewership and subscriber criterias that people set, because in the end, when you gotta look at it, YouTube is massive. There are tons and tons of channels out there, and you can't collab all the time, so you have to kind of pick and choose. And not only that, but something I've very much found with a lot of content creators is they're not very social, and when they are social, it's usually for some kind of personal gain. And yep. that's not saying they're greedy or anything like that. I want to iterate that. I'm saying it's easier for them to break out of their social boundary when there's some kind of benefit to do it.
Yeah, it's like there's no like Dead Phoenix, like there's no point doing a collab unless you can actively gain something from it. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess it's interesting because like the way I've been thinking about it, like in my sphere, is one, I have no intentions of doing collabs regardless, because I just as a person thrive when the things I make, the things I make is fully mine. I don't like having another person in the mix. But there's a small list of people where if they actually offered something, or I could reach out and offer something, like there's a very small list I'd actually like consider, but all of them are like it would benefit me because they're massive creators, and it'd only be offered to a point where it also benefits them. Because there's no point in doing a collab that's fully one-sided, like out of the kindness of your hearts, because that's time you could spend making something of your own.
Yeah. Hey, to be fair, Cressy, I'm not necessarily talking about us not doing it with like smaller content creators. Honestly, if a small content creator came out and was like, "Hey, I really like your stuff. I'd like to talk about it," I'd love to. I'd like to support the community and raise everyone up along. But even when you're a small-time content creator, you have certain like criteria that you set out. Like, if you're a 100 subscriber, it's rare that you go to another 100 subscriber and be like, "Hey, want to do some collab content together?" Because it's not really that much, especially when like the numbers kind of inflate senses of like worth, where you're like, well, even the worst content creators make like 10k subs or whatever. It sucks. It really does, because I think there's a lot that can be done to raise up, the C. And if I do see any channels I think are really good potentials, and that's another thing as well, certain channels you don't want to necessarily invite if it looks like they're going to fizzle out in no time, because that's a zero net gain, really, overall. You'd like to build a relationship with someone who is also pushing to make like a channel that's actually worth getting into. And it's really hard to identify that when the numbers are that low, even below. Like, once you get about 10K is when people really start taking you seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to 10K is really hard. But, you know, like, I've also gone out and attempted to communicate with some other people. And... No, actually, having your name doesn't really come up unless your name becomes like a trending tag. Because that's just what it is. The reason why you collab inherently is to cross-pollinate channels to expand your reach, more or less. And it's something that needs to be mutually set up by both sides as well, because even some of the stuff we've done was not necessarily mutually reciprocated, and thus it didn't necessarily generate that much hype or interest. So both parties need to be really interested in doing it, and that's just hard to set up in general.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the struggle of a small-time channel, you know? You gotta take every step that you can, keep pushing, and keep consistent, and you'll get there eventually, as long as you keep producing content of worth, and that's worth your time as well. Which, to be fair, our channel's doing really well, honestly. Even though recently the algorithm's not been too happy. I feel like with the new content spread that's coming out with the addition of some YouTube shorts and TikTok, and I also want to do some videos that are based on like discussion style videos. I think the channel will start generating a lot more interest in a lot more fields, and we'll get a better look at the algorithm. So, you know, like, all you who are here right now, like, I'm sure there's some people who are here now who have watched the channel get to where it is. That I know most of the people here have been here since the channel even hit like 1,000.
Oh yeah. It's the fun part of doing this, like growing this, is like, yeah, there are a lot of names. Or granted, the people who are regular here, where I'm like, ah, hell yeah, they're here. Like, I know the names. I know the, I've spoken to most people here.
Yeah. Same. That's great. I love that as well. And the best part is, you know, we're like just a little over a year in, and we're already at almost like 1.5K. We'll be at 1.5K by the end of November, probably. Oh, and that's an extra 1,000 in only like 3 months, where it took like 10 months to get to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the channel will eventually just start getting out of hand. It's something I've been saying constantly, but something that like even now has been evident by how many subs we've been getting monthly, how many views we've been getting monthly. They just keep going up, and then there'll be months where it'll get like we got like 200 subs in 1 month, which was nuts.
That was pretty sick.
Which at the time was literally about 20% of the entire channel growth, and it was in 1 month. So
once that next big book comes out too, you're gonna get a nice little algorithm injection.
Yeah, that's a great thing about doing this kind of stuff as well, is having content I know is gonna come out regularly, because Paizo is nuts. And they keep producing books coming out. You know, actually, you know something that's interesting? A lot of people are interested in looking into the APs, the adventure paths.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would approach that. it's something that I find is an interesting idea, but I think the only way I could do it in any valuable way would be to read the whole books and then give like, oh, that's not a bad idea either. Running the first AP or the first book of each AP, because they're not that long, honestly. It's like 5 to 10 sessions, you know, give or take. Because a lot of people are interested in that because they do want to wonder if they want to buy it or not.
Yeah, it's a big jump of like, do I want to buy this? Do I think the storyline would be interesting enough for my players? And it's like that thing where you buy a campaign book and then you realize partway through, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a period of time I think that would have been really good when I used to have the Friday sessions where we were doing the 10-session mini campaigns, which I did like, but scheduling got in the way of that one.
Scheduling is just difficult.
So yeah, yeah, like I said, I think the only way I could make that useful is just reading the whole book and like giving my first impression and like maybe a step-by-step of how to run the game and how to approach it in very nice bite-sized bits that are easy to digest.
Yeah, it's I mean that too. Like the one Pathfinder adventure book that we did, like, was fucking great. The Rune Lords one is popular for a reason.
Is really good.
It's really good.
So, yeah, I think that would be the only way I could reliably do it, because another part of it as well was scheduling. We eventually had to end the last one, Shadows That Laugh, because every week we were consistently having like 2 people missing.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. I do think a Roll20 tutorial series would help. I watched Roll20 tutorials as well. And there are APs for these adventure paths. I'm definitely not the guy to do those because there's some stuff that you can do on Roll20 that is like very technical that could really enhance the experience that I just don't do. So I'm not the best source when it comes to stuff like that. I do think that's a good idea though.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of like playing to strengths and then also just time constraints. You know what I mean?
That's always the big fun one.
My schedule is packed, and honestly, I want to fit in one more archetype video in the week. Because if I can do 2 archetype videos, 1 build video, 2 TikToks, plus the live play we do every week with Riptide, plus a discussion video, I think that will be a very good content load for the channel.
A content load I can never do, so fucking good on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I think with my current scheduling, I could really easily do it because I did everything this week and it felt real easy. I mean, it just comes with strategically using my shorts to create, you know, like, so it's not necessarily a complete content dip on a certain day. There's still something. But it's actually not that bad. I could record all of that in probably 3 to 4 hours on one day, and then spend 3 to 4 hours every day that week fixing this stuff up.
It's something I've been thinking about too, because like I could record 2 videos in a day. Like I could. It's just I'd have to manage my time a little better. But like it's possible. I just wouldn't like to do it at this moment because I don't want to like jump too much in right now.
Well, you're just a month in.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
You gotta pace yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably do something similar once the holidays start rolling around because I'm going on vacation. I'll be away from my like setup, so I'm gonna make sure that I have like as much done so like I can just like either sit back and relax because everything is scheduled to just go out, or I can edit while I'm on vacation and like just do that stuff so I can like nothing will change on the viewer side. That is my goal for when the holidays pop around. I will be increasing my workload around then just for necessity.
Yeah. I definitely, another thing as well is I definitely think in order to be successful on something like YouTube, you need to produce frequently, and I think you need a minimum of like 4 videos a week. 4 videos that actually have good traction. And that's rough, honestly. When I was doing archetype videos, doing 5 a week was real rough.
Yeah, I hope to get to a point where the videos I'm making will just accumulate more, as I want to make. I want to get to the point eventually where I can make like infinitely rewatchable content, where like I could just appear new video that'll just like reach 1 million over a while and just keep growing. It won't just cut off like that.
Mm-hmm.
Be one of those, but you know, we'll see.
It takes a lot of work.
Exactly.
Takes a lot of work, and you gotta do a lot of things that like make you a sensation, which is hard.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting more and more comfortable recording myself, so that's step 1.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. That was something I had to do, but then again, that wasn't anything I had to do recently. My channel had 400 videos before I even started making Pathfinder content. Even now, we're like getting above 550, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot of videos. It's a lot of time. But I definitely think that, and you know, the crazy part is that content load I just mentioned, that's just for now until we can get even more content, like styles. Because the channel can't necessarily completely live off of like just Pathfinder, for instance.
True.
And there needs to be more draws for the channel than that, especially if I want the channel to go like above 100K.
That's the one benefit of Warhammer, I feel, is Warhammer has a large reach for stuff like that.
Yeah. To be fair, Pathfinder has been increasing in scope for the last few years. So
also, thanks for that compliment, Crassy. Like, I actually do feel like this last video I put out is probably my favorite. Just I think it's one of the better ones I've made, despite some annoying technical issues I had with like the audio. That made it a little more scuffed for my liking, but I do feel like my narration is the strongest it's been for that video. It's something
hot tub streams.
Yeah, we should do that.
I think that would be really funny. I think doing a parody hot tub stream would be really fun.
We could do a hot tub stream, and what I'll do, it'll be a table talk hot tub stream. You'll be in a hot tub for realsies. I'll be my typical not on camera voice on your Discord, which I'll just imply I'm in a hot tub. Like I'll just like every once in a while when my mic is on, I'll splash some water around so it feels like I'm in a hot tub, regardless if I am or not. That'll be up for debate. Yeah, that's a great idea.
You know what I think would be really fun to do? A lot of parody videos or streams of just putting tabletop exactly where it doesn't belong into everything.
Yeah.
Like a literal tabletop hot tub episode, a cooking tabletop episode.
Oh, there's a TikTok series I really like that does something similar. Maybe if it's the same idea, the this guy who has rolls d20s to figure out what type of sandwich he's gonna make.
I was thinking that for the cooking one, yeah. But like just doing all kinds of parody stuff of just putting tabletop in.
Yeah.
You know what I'd love to do? Get a really good music production of a bunch of people playing tabletop. It's been done a few times, like probably quite a bit before, but I would still love to get a really fun one of those in because I love those kind of videos. I mean, like, at the end of the day, Tabletop musical. Oh, a tabletop musical? That actually sounds like a really fun one.
Yeah, get a bunch of theater nerds around, and they can make something crazy.
Yeah. Like, the big thing that I want to do with tabletop is make tabletop just seem really fun. Create gamer envy with tabletop. That's the biggest thing. And right now, the channel doesn't do that whatsoever, I don't think. Right now, the channel is just a good information source for Pathfinder stuff with some extra stuff on the side for people who are looking for a little bit more. But I really do in the future want to create like a gamer MV channel based on tabletop and making tabletop look really fun. And when I can get some more people together to work on it. Well, yeah, well, see, the thing is like, I want to do something that no other tabletop channel really does. You know what I mean? I want to make like a Moist Critical / XP level 3 style experience, which is, it's just a bunch of tabletop nerds doing really dumb things that are really fun. And just making tabletop look really, really fun in the process. Because the one thing that I feel like gets nerds to watch content more than anything is gamer envy.
True.
It's one of the reasons why there are streamers who take off, because they ran a lot of a game that people wanted to watch or wanted to play but couldn't yet because they didn't have money or they weren't sure about the game yet. They Are Billions was one of those games. Like, there's a time where anyone who played They Are Billions got thousands of views.
It is true. I remember that.
And there's a lot I want to do, but I just don't have the resources, mostly manpower at this point, to accomplish. Because I'd love to start doing like stuff where I get people together to film some really fun kind of like skits or challenges or whatever. But most of the people I talk to on a regular basis live at minimum half a state away, and at most like 7 states away. So
yeah, that's true.
In the Field tabletop. It could be really great. There's an art channel, World Builder, that does similar kind of stuff, where he asks like, is the movement in D&D like realistic?
There's another TikTok I saw where someone like showed what it was like to make 2 attacks in move 30 feet in 7 seconds.
Yeah,
that was like super cool. Actually, that would be a really interesting thing in the Field tabletop, where like you get to that point where you can like reach out to like businesses and stuff and be like, this character can do this, and like figure out like, the one I'm thinking of is it's a recent like Ludwig video where 4 of them tried to outclimb a pro climber at a climbing gym. Like stuff like that, where it's like, is this stuff like feasible for a regular person to do? And then like in reality, it's someone showing off something really cool that they can do, like a good collab like that. But like also, yeah, like that'd be super fun, where it's like fact checking the physics of like D&D, but you're really promoting some fun stuff with like really cool out of your house collaboration stuff.
I think another fun kind of troll video is what your character would look like in the real world, and just have people act as their characters in public settings and see how far it would go. I think that would be really funny to watch as well.
Some people
it might change some people's perspectives on how they run their characters.
I am biased because I do not like public stuff like that. It like, at least content like that, it stresses me out. Because I always agree. I always picture I'm like the person who's being interacted with like for a video, and I'm like, ugh.
Trust me, it also stresses me. I also don't like bothering people in public.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting idea as far as the perspective on here's your adventurers doing stuff in public settings and what that actually looks like.
Yeah.
Because I think that's an interesting study. Would it be cringy? A little bit, but people love that too. I don't understand it. I couldn't like prank channels. Like, God, I hate them so much.
Prank channels suck.
Yeah.
Granted, they're all fucking like fake, anyways.
Yeah, it's true. So I wouldn't mind doing it in a fake way, I guess.
Yeah.
But
that's the only way I'd be comfortable doing that.
Yeah, you just gotta hope it's the right amount of cringe. That's the right, like, getting that recipe together correctly.
That is also true. That really is the Mega 64 of tabletop. That's what that idea is.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things, you know, and like, you know, Crassi is just like getting in with publishers. You know what that requires? Subs.
Yeah, sadly. That's the bigger number, better person that, you know.
Yeah.
It's the important part.
Ooh, a D&D puppet show, like a tabletop puppet show, I think would also be really fun. There's like, again, there's so much content that we want to do, and when we get the funding and when we get the viewer count, yeah, but knowing people's hard. You know, people act like it's like, oh, you just got, trust me, I do. I tried to get in contact with the Lancer guys to get some kind of like press kit to have images for making for the videos or whatever. Got nothing. Happens all the time. I do it with almost every game we check out. Never get anything. It's just easier said than done. But if we get 10,000 subs and we start getting videos with several thousand views in the first week, that's a different story. Because then that's a marketing thing. That's something a business can look at and be like, okay, we can make money on this. And a lot of the time, you have to do it for a really long time too. You have to be like a general presence that people recognize. 1 year is not enough. Because, like, I could ask any of y'all right now, name for me in the next 30 seconds YouTubers that you watch that are at under 2K.
None that I know.
None that I could come up with at the top of my head besides Frizz. But that's because we're in the same field and I watch that stuff. And I guess Pathfinders as well. Even though they only have like 3 videos. But apparently they took off on the Reddit, so it's where their numbers came from. It's a struggle. Heck, if I said check out next 30 seconds, anyone on your subscription list that's under under 2,000, it's hard. It's something that it just isn't feasible, especially in a timely fashion that you can make regular content on. So it's one of those things of we'll get there. None of y'all stress. We'll get there in time. All we have to do is just be here on the platform, doing our thing long enough, making content for enough time. We're already at 1.3K. A year ago, we were at over 100, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I can look it up. 1 second. Social Blade. Oh wait, no, because of the weirdness. Yeah, it's gonna say we had like 200 in November and nothing before then. Yep. Yeah, it says we were at 302 in November 30th, but it doesn't properly track anything between that and August 2nd. I don't know why. It was just like it was tracked accurately after that point, but I guess that's just when we showed up on the radar.
I guess.
But I'm pretty sure that at this time last year, we were at literally 1/10 the size that we are now. I would almost put money on that. We are about 1/10 the size we are now. So, you know, like, that's impressive in just a year. Next year, we'll be at maybe 5 or even 10 times where we're at now. It's possible.
Yeah, it's a nice, like, exponential growth.
Mm-hmm. So, it's going to happen, everyone. Don't worry, we're getting there. I've been determined enough that even several times getting kicked in the nuts by life and left on the ground to fend for myself, I've managed to brush myself off and get to it. I mean, heck, the biggest week of growth on the channel during the Dark Archive binge of videos was literally me coming off of being horrendously sick for 2 weeks. Like, very, very sick.
Oh, yeah, it was fucking rough.
I got, like, one sickness, and then I went right into COVID. And then I got up, made Thought Psychic, and 10 Archetype videos, plus the 2 Warhammer videos for checking out Warhammer right after that. So, you know, recently I've been having a lot of social, like, stress with life, finances, all that kind of stuff. And that caused some issues for the last few weeks. But we'll just come back. We'll do a bunch more content. I'm doing a bunch of content. Got TikTok started now. Doing YouTube shorts now. I slept at that time. I was probably exhausted though, true. But I was sleeping at that time at the very least. And those are some of the best archetypes that came out because people were interested in them. And people really like the Psychic video. The Psychic video shot up and is now my 3rd most watched channel or video on the channel. And
I mean, it's a dope class. It better be most popular.
It's a really good class, to be fair. Heck, my tier list video still gets... You know, my tier list is almost at 6K views.
Jesus. I mean, it's like tier lists are good, dude.
They are good.
And it's one of those things that I think will, like, just continually accumulates. It's just how they work.
Yep. My updated video is also still on the rise. I don't think it's done as well, but
yeah, it's hard to sell. Like you have a tier list, and then all right, here's tier list part 2 with less stuff. It's less of a draw,
especially because if it doesn't get like stuck on the algorithm, people won't know you updated.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, at some point, you can just like even like a year, just sneakily remake it.
Yeah, that's true. I could just do another tier list remade. Here's
even
my
like
tier list now.
Like, because it might change some of your opinions.
Yeah, it's true. They're like, I don't know, but the channel is still like really good, even though recently the algorithm's been not much of our friend. We still have in the top 12 videos, nearly all of them are over 3K views now, which is really good. The top 5 are getting over 4K. It's nuts. More people than I was expecting. Did a react stream once and walked in his girlfriend secretly watching the stream because he was doing normie content instead. Wait, what?
For some reason it's called normie content, and normie content does good to people who don't play a lot of games.
Yeah, yeah, normie content is, you know what, for the majority of people.
Yeah.
Uh, that's also another thing as well. A lot of people have asked for me to do like looking into how to play the game, how to do this, how to do that, all that kind of stuff. And while I do think that content is valuable, the aim of this channel is to draw in people who are more leaning casual than anything. I mean, there's a reason why Bard is awesome. Is the catch line on the thumbnail is why Bard fucks.
Bards do fuck.
They do be fucking. You know, the reason why I think Monk got so many views is because the title was Nothing Can Beat Monk. And everyone got so butthurt because, like, he's saying Monk is the best class. Get him!
It is, but okay. Or one of the best classes. Like, you're right. It's true. Anybody... God, those comments were like, nothing can beat Monk. Actually, this can. Was really funny.
Yeah, no, you know the best one. Nothing can beat Monk, huh? Well, 5 Mogus's with True Strike and Electric, or Shocking Grass say otherwise. So it's like, well, yeah, I guess being outnumbered would do that, huh?
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, action economy matters.
So weird, so funny. It's definitely been a journey up until this point, and I think the channel's come such a long way from when it started at that time as well. I mean, heck, even now, Alex has started his own channel and is doing pretty well on it, I might add, in that time, in this last year. And I wouldn't have expected that. In fact, I was pretty sure Alex at the time was like, I don't want to make my own content, or I want to do something that's more like just me kind of fucking around doing experimental stuff, yada yada.
Yeah, I still intend to do that. I'm keeping that attitude, but it's also like, oh, well, this is doing well. I guess I'll keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, level 20 fighter can beat any level 1 monk. Yeah. Yeah. My dwarvish flick mace fighter who, you know, is dual class could beat monk.
Oh, man.
It's like, yeah.
You know, that's my favorite part of the internet. I love the loud majority of people that don't understand what hyperbole is in a YouTube title. It's so strange. Like, you think it'd be so basic. I'm gonna have to play in more into that, I think.
It really works.
I'm gonna try to exploit that. You know what? Next video I do, I'm going to exploit that. I'll make something very inflammatory. I think the next video I make is going to be on probably the Adeptus Sororitas, because I've been actually like building them and getting into that army, and it's throughout that time of the rotation. I could do something like better than Space Marines, something like that.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah,
I'll piss off some Space Marine fans. I'm always happy to do that.
Yeah, like scrolling up from that mark, going up and up, and like seeing the kind of content, and went from like doing a class video and then doing a bunch of live plays, and a bunch of table talks, and then started branching out into some other video types that wasn't working. Then getting into looking into other systems. That wasn't necessarily working. Then archetypes started showing up everywhere. And then top 5 videos, looking at this, looking at that. It's so fascinating to see like the growth of a channel.
Yeah. It's one thing I found really fun for just doing what I'm doing is every time I get a recommendation, say for one recommendation, it's been like, oh, it'd be so cool if you did this, and I'm like, that's literally what I'm doing next week.
Yeah. Like,
how did you call it? Like, someone was asking, like, oh, you should make a video where you go through, like, your favorite stories and stuff for Warhammer. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. What you're pitching is a smaller scale version of the thing I'm starting with, like, the character stuff. Or, oh, you should, like, I hope you talk about orcs next week. And I'm like, I was. Now it's going to seem like I listened to you.
Yeah.
The only one I'm not going to do is someone asking for me to talk about Blood Angels. And I'm going to hold off on Blood Angels because I'm biased against them. I'm biased against people that play Blood Angels.
Isn't that their whole thing on Adeptus ridiculous?
That too. They're also like literally doing it right now, so it'd be pointless. But even if they weren't, I would still hold off on it because like Blood Angel fans are very specific, and I don't mean that in a great way. But there's a very specific vibe for people who play Blood Angels. They attract a very particular type of person. That's really that I was trying to explain to Q actually, and I couldn't verbalize it. It's only something you understand if you actively play the game and are in the scene. Where I say you go like Blood Angel players, and everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, their identity is only described by the fact that they like a thing because you know what that thing is.
Yeah, because the best way I could come up with it was Blood Angels do something that more fun factions do, but they got this audience because they're better at it.
Mm-hmm.
They're the least fun all melee faction.
Yeah,
because you could play orcs or Khorne and be way more fun.
But like Cassic Earthmender was just like Flick Mace gross, and everyone's like, "What's wrong with Flick Mace?" It's like if you were in the scene, you would know.
I know the surface level of Flick Mace being a problem. I know it's the meta pick. And yeah, when you have a meta pick like that, the people that pick it. Though I did like the one comment we got. I forget who said it. It might have been Crassy in our Discord. If the gnome population of Galarian is skyrocketing since the Flick Mace dropped.
Yeah. You know the worst part is, it's not even the gnome population. Everyone just keeps taking. They keep taking. Sorry, what?
Shared ancestry.
Yeah, it's called something different, but it does the same thing. It's
Is it the feat where you just steal some
It's a feat where you can select from another ancestry's feats.
Ah, I see. Inherited ancestry, right?
Adopted ancestry.
That's it. I've been looking into that for a character build I'm making with Devin.
It's a good feat. It's good if you have some things that you want to kind of mix into your character to make them more diverse. But a lot of people pick up adopted ancestry, especially human fighters, because they can pick up an extra feat, an extra general feat, and then they're like, oh, I'm going with gnome so that I can get the Flick Mace.
Gotta look up what the Flick Mace does.
So
I just know it's good.
I have to look at it here real quick. I'm pretty sure the Flick Mace, the biggest thing is when you crit with a Flick Mace, it knocks enemies prone.
Huh.
Why am I doing this
the
hard way?
Yeah, that's just flails. Flails do that.
Yeah, it's a flail that's a reach weapon, and it's one-handed.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a one-handed reach weapon that is in the flail group. So you can go sword and board fighter. And it has a D8 damage.
Oh.
So you can go sword and board fighter, be really hard to kill because you're wielding a shield. Have reach, which makes your attack of opportunity dumb. And when you crit enemies, they are knocked prone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real good. I definitely understand the complaint even more.
Yep.
That's dirty.
It's a really broken weapon in some people's hands. And that's why everyone brings up the Gnome Flick Mace, because it's the only one-handed reach weapon besides inventor weapons.
Yeah. And at least for inventor weapons, you worked for that.
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah. But like, it's silly. It's really dumb.
Yeah.
But the people who bring it up, are the min-maxers.
Oh,
who
yeah.
are just trying to devastate combat and nothing else.
Yeah, the stuff of like, oh yeah, I got the flick mace. Oh, how does that tie into your backstory? Like, for getting this gnomish weapon, like, oh, backstory.
One day I found it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn about it because I thought it was cool. So I sequestered myself with a clan of gnomes and learned their fighting ways.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Something where they're trying really hard to justify their pick, even though they're just trying to justify it because it's broken.
Yeah, it's just because it's a good weapon.
It's cringe.
Yeah, true.
I don't know why, but you would love this image, Alex. I'm gonna send it to you. I was just casually looking through Twitter for something. Not save, copy. Why would I ever save anything onto my computer? I just feel like this is your kind of humor.
It looks like an AI generated image.
It is.
I really like it. Yeah.
It's the DALL-E mini generations.
That's really funny.
I love the one in the bottom left corner.
I do too. That's the closest to, or the I like that the top left is doing like the AI's attempt at the people's eyebrow.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
The bottom left one though, the face is so great. And just how fucking ripped he is. Holy shit.
He's fucking jacked.
It's really funny. Anyway, sorry, that was a big sidetrack. That's table talk for you. But, in the end, we got, I think, a good amount ready, and the channel will evolve and grow as as we get more people, we get more interests from other people, like we can get like sponsorships if we can get in with some companies are like, hey, we see your channel sometimes kind of review stuff, so would you like to feature some of this in some of your content? Especially in the tabletop field, you don't really need that big of a subscriber count for stuff in the tabletop field. So
not really.
10K is, I'm pretty sure, where we're gonna start seeing a lot more opportunities, and you all know I'm gonna jump on them because not only do I want us to do well, but I'm also just interested in trying new stuff out. And Alex pushing his content, if his content gets really big, then hey, maybe we can do a parody thing of you got your Warhammer in my Pathfinder, and we just run Warhammer characters through a campaign, or put D&D or Pathfinder figures on a Warhammer battle map and see how they work out.
That would be interesting to try to tackle, how to make something fun like that. I'd be down. I mean, obviously, if I'm blowing up, I'm like, I'll obviously be collaborating with you regardless of like size. It'd be really fun, I'll bring Warhammer fans, you bring Pathfinder fans my way. We just like go from there.
I mean, there's a fair amount of crossover between the two. Isekai, oh my god! Oh no! Take your favorite Warhammer character and isekai them into like a tabletop setting.
Oh no!
That sounds like such a great parody video.
I would love Trazyn the Infinite rolling around Galarian.
I'd love to see Dorn.
I do love Dorn too. The the Knights of Last Wall, he'd be the first one he visits, regardless of how they're currently turned out. Because they like broke, right? Is that what happened? They got their ass beat. Oh.
No. So what happened was the nation of Lastwall was destroyed by the Whispering Tyrant, and everything broke apart. The guy who is the king of the Knights of Lastwall left and is in Absalom, kind of petitioning to help out. And there was a group that was formed called the Knights of Lastwall, which are now fighting the undead hordes of the Eye of Dread.
Yeah. I will say, the one thing that'd be super fun about this is the power scaling differences.
That's exactly why I think it's hilarious.
Because, like, any, like, major character for Warhammer is, like, so ridiculously stronger than, like, I'd say even, like, a high-level character. Because, like, a Primarch is definitely better than a level 20 character. Like, that's just how it be.
I don't know about that necessarily.
It
really say, depends.
I'd say if I could see the, like, get a level 20 thing, see what they're capable of doing, I could probably find a quote where a Primarch does something cooler. Because the one thing I'll say is Sanguinius, say, threw a Warlord Titan or a Warhound Titan, which is, like, you know, stupidly large. He picked it up and threw it around. I don't know how many Pathfinder characters could do that.
You can. Titan Wrestler.
It's stupid big.
Yeah. You can throw some big things with Titan Wrestler.
That'd be an interesting thing to figure out the size. That'd be a fun thing to actually map out, like the idea of could this Pathfinder character exist in 40k and vice versa.
I would say a Primarch would drop into Golarion straight out as like a level 20 character.
Oh yeah. Honestly, if Mythic stuff, that probably, if Mythic stuff works the same way as it does in Wrath of the Righteous, then I'd say that's a little more like.
Well, yeah, they had a whole Mythic system, but like even in Pathfinder, like a level 20 character is like, if you're talking magic casters, a level 20 magic caster gets spells that can destroy entire cities. You know, a level 20 martial character can easily rip through, like, a level 20 fighter, for instance, could take on demon generals who are like huge in size, like they're nothing. You know, so I'm pretty sure level 20 is about the scale of like Primarchs, but like I would say your standard Space Marine is also like a level 12 to 15 character. So
yeah, it's the scaling is different. The main thing. Then it would just be seeing what match up certain things, because then there's the characters that literally duel gods and are just like pretty cool, and they're like it's like I can duel a god like it's nothing in Warhammer, and like that's the thing.
And there's characters that did that in the Pathfinder universe.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think upper scale they start getting the same, but I think Warhammer in general, like the general scale of Warhammer, most Pathfinder characters would get their faces absolutely ripped off.
Yeah.
It's just no contest. It's just the biological enhancing and everything like that. But level, like, that's kind of like the scaling, though, of things like even D&D or Pathfinder, is a level 10 character is considered like a professional adventurer, right? They're considered, essentially, they can go in and accomplish most things. Level 15, you're a living legend, and level 20, you're a mythic figure.
Yeah.
Even though they're like 5 level differences, that's how the power scaling kind of enhances as you get into those later levels, because of just the sheer stuff you could do, plus magic items you possibly have. Magic items also just completely change how things work, and there's the thing is, if we're doing Warhammer and Pathfinder or whatever tabletop in general, it doesn't have to be Pathfinder, together, it needs to be parity. Because
obviously. It's not a real discussion that matters.
Can't compare apples to oranges, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a pure joke thing. And besides, like, It's like anything like that. I like debating stuff like that only because the topic doesn't matter. Though a big thing to mention with like just Warhammer in general, with it like rank 10 mythic characters basically a demigod. The fun thing about Warhammer that I like, no, I need to argue Goku versus Superman. Yeah, it's that argument essentially. But it's the thing I enjoy is because it's something I see a lot in like a lot of like fictional settings, like, oh, he has the power of a god or a demigod, and it doesn't really mean that much, honestly.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but like in Warhammer, when you hear, oh, that is a god, you're fucked. Like, you're completely fucked.
Well, no, because even then it doesn't even matter, because so many things have so much different scalings that you can't really.
It's the thing I like
powerful as a god is so like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a thing in Warhammer, like in its contained universe I like, where when someone mentions they are a god, it is a genuine actual threat that you like need to take more seriously as like a viewer. Also because Warhammer is a lot more like, oh yeah, we'll just kill them. We'll kill this faction or this army. We'll do that. It's the thing I like in Warhammer, where they actually have the weight of like being a deity, like in its own like world. Because you don't fuck with a Catan. That is the power of like a whole ass god. And Catan's the only way the Catan could be handled is literally through an entire like civilization fighting back against them. Like, and not even killing them, finding ways to contain and shatter them. And even then, the shards are stupid hard to deal with.
Well, yeah, but like the same thing, right? So like in Pathfinder or D&D, actually, it both applies. You could set literally the entire Imperium of Man against a god, and they couldn't do anything. They literally could not hurt them. It is impossible. Only gods of some deific power can actually affect them. Or you have some god-killing artifacts, which I'm sure that are also exist in Warhammer.
Anathema weapons, yeah.
But that's like, it's just because it's just a rule, you know, like a universal rule. A god comes down, you can't touch them. Their AC is like 100. You're not even playing the same game. You know?
It's the thing of like, it's the same thing with like those like death battle stuff. It's like, these are kind of the same, so it counts. Like, yeah, we kind of determine, say, like, this character can see stands because, you know, they have spiritual energy.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on Death Battle.
Yeah,
I hate Death Battle.
I hate them so much.
I watch it sometimes because it's interesting and I'm curious, but I'm always disappointed by the results because they always take super anecdotal evidence of something that's not recreational, isn't in the character's normal modus operandi, and they're like, hey, yeah. It's like Dio versus Alucard. Alucard has to be killed millions of times. Millions of times.
Yeah, it's
to be defeated.
It's a little dumb. It's the it's like the thing of pitching characters from different universes with different rules against each other is just in the end a stupid argument. It's weird.
You can't. It's apples oranges. They're just not the same.
The only type of discussion I think is interesting in that realm is if you tossed this character into this world, how would they fare? That's a fun hypothetical.
I do enjoy that one.
Those are fun because it's like they adapt to a world and figure out how their power sets work. But it's not like, yeah, these are kind of the same. So here's all the weird concessions we have to make so they can even fight. Like on even playing fields. But like when it's like the question, what would happen if, say, Doom Guy got dropped into like Warhammer? Would he survive? Answer, fucking yeah. Honestly, yes, he would. He would have a great old time, and then the powers that be would also fucking love him. It's like, hey, there's a person out here that's just is unyielding and like killing like demons. Fuck yeah, come right in. Kill my demons. This is hilarious.
I gotta say, Dead Phoenix, my favorite death battle is Rainbow Dash versus Starscream. Because Rainbow Dash kills and consumes Starscream's soul in the end of it. Yeah.
There's actually, you know what? I don't know, even think it's Death Battle. I think it might be a different like studio. There's this one channel that does like Death Battle Lights, where it's like it's just literally an animated fight, but it's in character. My favorite version of it was Joseph Joestar versus Edward Elric.
Oh,
where the fight started because Edward thought the red stone of Ajo was a Philosopher's Stone, and then Joseph calls him short, and then they fight, and they don't actually kill each other at the end. A seagull takes the stone, and they're both chasing after it. Like they stop fighting because they're like, "No, give that back." So like it's in character for both of them to like fight the way they do, and then not kill each other.
Yeah,
I mean, this is fitting.
Oh no, it's like fight hypotheticals. I genuinely do like the idea of, but the problem is that when it comes to winning, people are always willing to pull out all the stops, despite ignoring the standard modus operandi for how a character operates in general. Like, it's like, oh yeah, Superman versus Goku, right? But then you go to fights that literally Goku loses and or Superman loses, and you're like, where were all these things that you mentioned here?
Yeah. It feels like a Death Battle picks a victor at the beginning and then like figures out how to make that true.
Well, I think it's just they just pick anecdotal evidence. They run all the numbers together, and they're like, okay, this guy's got a higher score because one time... It's like Sonic the Hedgehog can move attoseconds in speed because he could pick up a ball of water and throw it as like a solid object, and it said it would happen in so many attoseconds. It's like, okay, really cool. Then how does he ever have any problems ever? That's not... Yeah. It's not consistent, and that's why I think if you're to do Death Battle, you should do the exact opposite. You should look at how these characters operate regularly, like their general like level, and then have them fight. That would be far more interesting. Because anecdotal evidence where characters break the rules of the world happen all the time because writers don't care when the hype is on.
True. It does not matter if the thing is cool. I will say I do like the one thing we mentioned when we were talking about this before, the idea that like due to the rules of like power scaling like that, any thug that dodges like a laser beam is faster than Superman.
Yep.
Or it's like to that logic, you know, it's like that.
Yeah, you know, and I would love, you know what? If I ever have just a dumb amount of time and money, I really just want to make like a Death Battle Flame channel of just setting up situations of nameless characters beating popular characters because of a bunch of anecdotal evidence of like, yeah, this thug took a punch from Superman when he was not holding back and he only remained unconscious. That is impressive. That means he could take so many atom bombs to the face and not die.
Yeah, if you want to get that popular immediately, just say anybody beats Batman.
Yeah.
Always the argument is no, Batman beats everyone. He just needs prep time.
With prep time, yeah, beat him
exactly,
with prep time. You gotta be like, in small text beats Batman, in huge text with prep time.
Literally have like Batman like, I've had a year to prepare for this fight, and then he gets his ass beat.
The thug comes in because he's faster than Superman because he dodged one punch, and nothing Batman can do can even hurt this guy because he took one punch from Superman and lived. And also, you could just make up a bullshit reason of like, the thug checked over here, not because he knew that, or because he didn't know Batman was there, but he knew where Batman was, and he didn't want to deal with it. So he's obviously a master-level genius with possibly X-ray vision.
Yeah, the whole, like...
just bullshit reasons.
Yeah, the stuff that doesn't make any sense. I do love that scene, and that's we brought that up so much in our tabletop where, hey y'all, fun variant rule, allow your players to use intimidation instead of stealth.
Yeah, yeah,
Because like literally the scene that best shows that Batman the Animated Series, Thug walks in, a Thug he beat his ass like earlier, and then just fucking like they just make eye contact, and the Thug is like, nah, I'm not dealing with this.
yeah.
Leaves.
It's great. Okay, we've gone over time.
We have.
Thank you all so much for being here watching. Like, follow, subscribe on your platform of choice. Be on the lookout. TikToks are coming our way. You can follow me on TikTok. I need to start adding the link to the TikTok in the description, so I'll start doing that at some point and link it on my Twitch. And more videos are coming out. We got some other great stuff coming up. We have the Bloodborne one-shot happening in a little over 2 weeks now. So be on the lookout for that as well. And when Alex gets that stuff all set together, if you want to pitch any games you would like for us to look at next month, starting in November, we're going to start going back to polling for what games we look at every month. So if you're interested in seeing a game that you like being looked into, whatever, check out the Discord, which is linked down below in the description or linked below on Twitch. Guy news, got anything send off?
Watch my videos. I think they're pretty neat.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.